Welcome in, everybody. Thanks you guys so much for joining for another Luxury Success Masterclass. This is where we have a lot of fun. We bring in just the experts, guys, to kind of lay out exactly what tips and strategy we're talking about this week. And this is no different. So we're so excited to have on Janie and Jana and Ed and Susan and the gang, guys, to really kind of lay out what building a luxury team is really like. And really kind of the foundations, the principles, what does it look like, what does it feel like, and hopefully we have time for Q&As and all that good stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and bring over Janie. Janie, I'm going to let you rock star and take it away.
Awesome. Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you, everybody, both our guests and our audience. This is something that we put on every single second Wednesday of the month from 1 to 1:45 Eastern Standard Time. It's normally more of a training type of thing on luxury real estate. It's hosted to you by the EXP Luxury Division, but we're doing something different today. We're really excited. We have some guests on. We're doing everything around team leadership, incorporating luxury, which is often something people are not quite sure of. Do they go from being a solo luxury agent to building a team? Do they go from being a regular price point team to having luxury? Like, how do they put that all together? And there's a lot of different ways to skin a cat, but you've got great people on this. All three, Jana, myself, and Ed, are all top 250, and those guys are probably top 20 team leaders at our brokerage. So we've been doing this a long time, and we've done it very, very different ways. So you're going to get a lot of aspects. But before we jump into that, we've got Susan on here, our VP of Agent Success, to tell us about a brand new program we haven't had before, and we're super excited. So I'm going to leave you, Susan, to tell us about this new exciting program you have for team leaders.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me, you guys. I'm excited to be here. And I'm here to announce an exciting partnership between Team Leader Academy and our luxury division. So if you're not familiar with Team Leader Academy, we built TLA because most leaders don't struggle with vision, right? Most team leaders are visionaries, but what they struggle with is growth. They struggle with building a team of agents that want to be a part of something bigger than themselves, building a team of agents that are productive, that stay for a really long time, right? We don't want to start all over every 6 months with a new group of team members. And so that's why we built TLA. It's really a recruiting engine to help you attract the right agents for your team. And so I know this is a meeting all about, building a luxury team. So whatever that ideal team member avatar is, when you build your team around that avatar, they stay, they produce, you have a great culture. So that's really why we built Team Leader Academy. So one of the benefits is giving you growth assistance. So again, looking at who you're trying to attract to your team and how we can help you grow your agent count, a community of other team leaders. So being in proximity with other people who are building the same type of team that you're looking to build with the same goals, a framework to scale your business, right? It's all around that intentional growth. So that's why we launched Team Leader Academy, to help you with that next step, whether that next step is starting a team or whether you've got a team of 200 and you're ready to scale, past that, or maybe, creating the culture that you want. So that's why TLA exists. But I'm also here to let you guys know that we have this new partnership with TLA and Luxury. So luxury, sports and entertainment, land and ranch members will get a 20% discount on Team Leader Academy. So that's $500 off the certification price of $2,500. So excited about that partnership, because if you're luxury and you're wanting to start a team or grow your team and you think TLA could help, we wanted to make it a little bit easier for you. So that's what I'm here to let everyone know about. That if you have questions about Team Leader Academy, you guys probably know our toolkit page, right? exptoolkit.com.
Yeah.
We have a Team Leader Academy toolkit that's got a lot of information there.
You said something that I think is going to perk up a lot of people's ears. I think I heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, that because your ears are on the ground of all the agents out there, you can help be a matchmaker when there's an agent who's maybe either already at EXP, because that's where we are, or they're thinking about coming, but they want to be in a luxury team or a team run by a luxury team leader. You can help do that matchmaking that sometimes might be a little bit harder to connect all the dots.
Yeah, so it's really focused on EXP agents. So what we do,
right, of course.
yeah. So what we do is when we have a team leader academy, team leader, and they graduate, right? They're certified, TLA certified. They fill out a form, and that form says, "Give me all the zip codes where you do business or where you want to do business." They fill out that form. It goes to my team. My team will start looking for EXP agents who might be a better fit on a team, right? They're missing the culture, the collaboration. Maybe it's leads, right? Maybe it's accountability. So they're missing that piece of it. So we reach out to those EXP agents on behalf of the TLA team leader, and we say, we've got a certified team near you looking to grow. Are you interested? And so we'll connect that agent with the team leader. So on average in 2025, and this was our kind of inaugural year for TLA, but we'd given every TLA grad who raised their hand and said, yes, I'm looking to grow. We gave them an average of 9.8 potential team members for everyone that said, yes, sign me up for growth assistance.
Wow.
So it's just a way that we can help those team leaders grow. And they don't have to join the team, right? If you're looking for agents, if you're growing a luxury team, we might connect you with someone who isn't necessarily a fit, and that's okay. Maybe the team isn't the right fit for the agent. It has to be a fit on both sides. But it's an opportunity for them to grow.
No, that's awesome. But it is good to know that this exists, because there are people who approach EXP or approach EXP Luxury. They want to be part of a team, but maybe they don't know how to find the team leaders within EXP. So I think it's really great for everybody to know this exists.
Yeah, and we do have a form too. So we have a form that for those agents who say, yeah, I want to be a fit on a team, right? Maybe we didn't reach out to them on behalf of a team leader, but we have a form that says I want to join a team, and so we'll connect them with the team near them.
Oh, awesome. And when did you say the next one is starting, and how do team leaders sign up?
January 29th is our next cohort. So right around the corner, and they can sign up by going to exptoolkit.com/team leader academy. So go to our exptoolkit.com page and scroll down to the bottom. You'll see the TLA toolkit, and it has all the information there.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Susan. I think all of us have been in this game so long that we would have liked a Team Leader Academy to have existed when we started. We're kind of picking up on the fly. So.
Yes. I have a group of amazing team leaders that I've asked to be on the advisory council this year. So Brett Sikora, Tina Call, and Veronica Figueroa. And so they're really helping us take this to the next level. And I'm super excited to partner with them. Just fantastic team leaders who can help everyone else.
Awesome. Thank you, Susan.
All right. Thanks for having me, guys.
Bye. So this is going to be such an exciting chat. We're going to go, it's 1:08 Eastern Standard Time. We'll go to about 1:38, so about 30 minutes, and leave a few minutes at the end for Q&A if anybody in the audience has them. So if you guys are in the audience and you have questions and you're watching this live, drop them in the chat and we will pick some as we go along to answer. Before we get started, just so that everybody has an understanding of who we each are, just give us a 2-minute background on where you do business, what your growth from solo agent to team leader has been, and just any little thing. I'll start. I'm in St. Augustine, Florida. I run an unteamed team, and what I mean by that is it's more of a network of agents, but we are a full team of more seasoned agents through the state of Florida. And I've been in team leadership for about 10 or 12 years. So, Jana?
Hi there, everyone. I'm Jana Caudill. I'm a team lead in 2 states, 29 years, been doing business, and I'm in Northwest Indiana as well as Naples, Florida. So I have a team that runs in both of those states. I'm with eXp Realty, former KW gal for 11 years, owned my market center and regional director for them, et cetera. So I've been in leadership basically my entire time, and I started a team the first year that I was in business because I could see I could not do this alone. So so I would say I kind of am a master of teams anyway, but still learning and growing and doing it. And again, 29 years in the business.
Awesome. You were lucky to be with the one brokerage that really, I think, launched the concept of teams when you were with KW. I was with Sotheby's at that time, and they were very kind of anti-team. They're not now, but they were at the time because they just felt that didn't align with luxury. And so I really had to kind of make it up on my own. And I used the KW book a lot. Like I went to all the KW training. I read the Bible forward and back, the red book, and you had a lot of good luck being with them for your start.
I did. I was very fortunate.
Yeah. How about you, Ed? You've been around.
Yes, I'll try to give a 38-year history in 38 seconds if I can. So I'm also at eXp Luxury, and early in my career, I've always had a small core team for most of my career. Like just it was me, a buyer's agent, my a couple assistants, and we did a great job. And we always kind of did about 100 transactions a year, significant portion in the high end, and but I got stuck there, and so I wanted to grow into more volume and get past that point. And so when I joined eXp, I started learning from a lot of other people, and I created what I guess they call now a mega team. And we went from like 2 or 3 agents that we had on a team to 43 we have right now. We did about 425 million in sales last year. So we scaled up pretty well over the last couple of years. And so on the topic of building a team, and I'm sure we'll touch on it, there's not everybody on the team is luxury, right? So it's kind of broken up into pieces, and I can talk about that. And I built other teams along the way, which, an athlete relocation division of my team. And we've done that for 20 plus years, which is a lot of high end. And I also built a luxury real estate auction company, which I don't have anymore, but that was all uber luxury properties across the country. And we had to build a team around that to deal with that type of clientele.
Yeah, sure. Most people, at least historically, when they think of real estate teams, think of what I would call the Gary Keller Rainmaker team, right? Where the team, there's a rainmaker, main figurehead of the team, often with the team leader's name. And then everybody kind of plugs in that, whether they're buyer's agent or listing partner or the different admin and staff. Like I said, I had that for a while, and I realized that is not my skill set. Like just I'm not really good with leading people that way. And I went off and did this unteamed team, which is very different. I think both of you have more of a traditional Rainmaker team. What does the structure look like, your teams? And has it always been the same way, or have you changed it, or how has that changed in the years?
So, yeah, I'm going to start with the original structure because I think it's more of what you can move to if you don't have it now, right? The mega is a whole different process. So the original structure of my team was that I wanted to be a listing agent, and I focused on taking listings. And as I got really focused on that, I needed someone that was going to take time off my plate and work with the buyers. And so having a really good buyers partner, agent partner on the team, so I could comfortably, work with that client, but through that person. And it was really just a lot of everyday one-on-ones with that agent. And we scaled it from just what I was able to do on my own to something I thought was great. And we got busy, and then I had added 1 or 2 more. And I think that works really well if you want to be an independent agent with low expenses and good profit and run efficiently. You can live forever in this business that way and have a really successful career. So I would say that was the first part. If you start to go into large teams, mega teams, that's a whole different game that we can talk about. But I thought I'd start with that first.
No, that's a good starting point. What about you, Jana?
I think I've started from the beginning with the specialist model, and that was each person had a very defined role. I knew what I was good at. I wanted to either be working with a buyer or working with a seller. I didn't want to be in the office. So I quickly hired administrative help and got them in place so that I could go do what I did best and was out in the field. So and then as my business was growing, I just needed more help. And actually my second hire was another administrative help. So to help with marketing, to help with the things, because I was the busy realtor. And, when I had, the administrative hat on, I couldn't be out, sitting at the kitchen table where I was making money. So for me, it was always a specialist model. I have launched the past 5 years. I've allowed people to do both. Where before it was very like you're just listings or you're just buyers. We're more both. It's a partner model, so they can do both buyers and sellers. But the administrative team is very much in place. The foundation is built, and that I've always been, pretty strict on having those high standards in place.
Yeah. So for both of you, do you run the model that you guys as the team leads or as the rainmaker generate the majority of the business, and then you divide it up based on whoever's the right fit, and they do the front facing work for the most part with the buyer and seller, and then the admins handle all the back end stuff, and then you have a set split? Or do they do their own lead gen too? How does that work?
I believe in teaching people to fish, right? That old adage, right? You can just feed somebody or teach them how to fish, and they can feed themselves forever. And so we have a lead generation model where we generate leads from a lot of different price points, and we distribute those leads to the team. However, we coach and teach around, don't let that be your living, right? That's just your bonus money, right? The split structure is different on those type of leads. But I come from Mike Ferry training and just getting back to the basics and talking to enough people each and every day to grow your business. And so it's a combination. I think it's necessary because I find when you are out trying to find business, you tune in differently to the marketplace and even your own clients. And when you get in that habit of, looking to find someone that needs help and to serve them, and then you are handed somebody, it's like, wow, I know exactly what to do right now. This is what I was looking for. And then you take care of that client. But I feel it needs to be both for someone to grow. And I also think, our job is to really serve the agents that are on our team and teach them how to build their own business. Even if we make them so great they leave, it's okay. It's just, let's figure out a way that they can truly do the business from A to Z.
Well, Ed, you have such a good heart for people, because I do know team leaders that will try to keep people in their place because they want to keep them on their team. But I know you're such a good, like you said, your goal is to help people on their path and on their career, and they might be with you a few years, they might be with you, 15 years or 20 or 38. How about you, Jana?
I would say, so for the most part, I very much have a lead generation model, lots of ways, leads are coming in. So they do get lots of opportunities. My team members do. But believe it or not, this year was the very first year ever that our top source of sales came from the agent's personal SOI.
Wow.
So that means that they were, and so part of our 135 and everything that we're teaching them is that, how can we convert the current leads that we have that are coming into the team, or that were my same past clients or whatever. But it's also incorporating them working their personal sphere. So I'm very much for them. I don't care how it comes in. It can't just be about me. It has to be about them too. So it's a mix, definitely a mix. I'm not opposed to them marketing themselves, doing anything. You've got some that are on TikTok now, the social media influencers. So it's whatever works for them. We're all working together and we're trying to get to that end goal.
Yeah. Both of you mentioned that you do all price points, as does our team. That's sometimes, so my background, for those of you who don't know, I managed a very large Sotheby's agent brokerage franchise for many years, and I was a founding agent at Compass, and I ran the Compass team leader group and grew that to 900 team leaders, and then I coach team leaders for an outside coaching program. So I've had a lot, even though I myself don't have the personality, I've coached and trained a lot of team leaders, and I've seen all the ones who've done it really well, all the ones who've like done it really poorly, and everything in between. And just like with regular real estate, there's every kind of model under the sun. One thing I want to say before I forget, especially if you're new to team leadership, is to get a really good agreement in place between you and the team member about what is your expectations and anything you can possibly think of. What's your expectations for them? What are their expectations for you? How does that work divide up? How does that split divide up? Because inevitably, half of my job in the years when I was in those positions was literally like, I felt like I was the judge at divorce court between team members and team leaders, because they always just each assumed something different, and neither was wrong. They were just different, and because they didn't agree up front, things went sideways. So take that. But both of you mentioned you have all different price points. So how do you handle, do you call it like your luxury division, or you handle that more, or you've trained a handful of agents to take on the luxury business? Like, how do you handle the luxury side within your larger teams?
Great question. We do divide our teams into groups. We'll call it A, B, and C. And a lot of that's based on production and whether they're performing well or not. And they get certain priorities and benefits from that. So we do look at that. Anyone that generates their own leads, they're just their own leads. So it doesn't matter if they're in group C and has never sold a home over, X amount. They get the lead, it's still their lead. So it just fits in. When it comes to lead distribution, however, then we are more selective based on the geographic area the property might be in, because we're in a large geographic area. So if they have connections there, or they're from there or been there, that has an influence, and they had experience dealing with that price point at some level. Although we are a Zillow Flex team, and so a lot of times they're getting these leads that they've never received before at high ends. We had someone write an offer on a $15 million home that had never sold anything over $2 million before. And that came through that. So these things pop up, but I'm there to kind of jump in and really coach them along, or meet with the client. And I encourage, I call it CITO, CITO, come into the office. Get your clients to come into the office so I can sit down with them as well, even if it's just to shake hands and say hello, or give them a bit of, advisory, conversation when they come in.
Do you have traditional, because you're a Zillow Flex team, do you have that real traditional Rainmaker style team, training, management oversight, making sure they're accountable for making their calls? Or how do you handle that to make sure that the things are being done that needs to be done?
Yeah, we have a lot of accountability and coaching around everything we do. I have a sales leader who's the day-to-day person, checking in and helping and coaching and, dealing with the tiers and everything else that goes on. But we have a weekly accountability meeting where everyone must come to the meeting on time. If they're a second late, the door is locked, they can't come in. And they're removed from lead distribution for the week. They have to bring in what they did last week and what their intention is for the next week. And as you said, we can talk about expectations. But as independent contractors, we can't require anything of anybody. So it really comes down to the individual to really want to perform. But we're there to help them remind themselves what they committed to personally, so they can decide if they want to really get back to it the following week. And that's what those accountability sessions are all about.
How about you, Jana? Because I know you generate a lot of leads as well.
So I've been up and down with the accountability throughout the 29 years. I'm actually leading them now. I think I'm a much more relaxed leader now. I have, weekly huddles. I have one-on-ones with them. I'm in charge of the accountability, but I'm not a drill sergeant like I used to be honest with you. I'm much more relaxed as a leader. So I want to teach people how to lead. I want leaders on my team. And
Right.
So I'm more selective in my hiring process now. I think in the past, we would bring just anyone on. And, I would probably want it more than they wanted it for themselves. And I probably had a lot of people that just really shouldn't have been on my team. But so I think if you set the stage early on and you hire correctly, you're going to get those people that want to lead and want to be a good example and a good representation of your brand. So, I find that it works for us now. It's not it's not as much pressure. People set their own goals. I help them. We mentor them. In regards to who we're giving the luxury leads to, though, if it is truly a team lead that comes in that is, came in from all the team sources, those are going to a very select few that have been trained. My luxury, they're actually a part of our luxury division.
Yeah.
So, so they've been trained. They're skilled with dealing the higher end luxury clients. I'm not going to send a brand new on a luxury appointment if it's a team lead that's come in. So those are going to go to, listing specialists that have been on my team for a very long time, that know how to handle them and know the tools and the systems that we use. However, if they did generate their own, like Ed said, I'm not going to say, no, you can't go. And so then we're going to be there for them. Now, sometimes they'll actually turn them over because they're too afraid to go. So they'll do a referral with the team member, and they'll just be like a sidekick and shadow and whatnot. But there's been times that we're there. We're like, you can do this. We're gonna walk you through it. We're gonna help you every step of the way, because they're using our marketing, our systems, our everything. So it's not just them going it alone.
Yeah, that's great. And all three of us have created, if you just looked at our brands frontward facing, they're elegant enough that they fit for luxury, but then they're not just feel like only luxury, because people ask me that all the time. Do I need to have a separate luxury brand? And what I've done is I have the Gorgeous Florida Homes Network, and then we have the luxury division that's just blended our luxury branding in, but we made our colors, our fonts, everything, that it very seamlessly blends. And I know Jana and Ed, you have both done that too, instead of having two different things. That doesn't make any sense. You just have a higher price point division or side or team members or something like that.
It's a luxury look and brand and feel, and the service is luxury on every price point, but it's definitely big or small. We sell them all. We're not going to turn down, the regular. I mean, we're just not. I mean, that's our bread and butter. So
yeah. No, of course. And I think it's really, really important that I always suggest people deal in a niche or an area or something that has properties in a variety of price points, so that you can build your name in that niche or in that location, but then you can be nimble as markets change. So you can shift upwards in price during really hot markets, but in a cooling market, you can shift down, but you don't have to start over because you've already positioned yourself in that niche or that location. If with your 29 years and your 38 years, if you could go back to the very beginning, but have all the same knowledge, and it is, 2026, or you could bundle all that knowledge and start over from scratch and wave a magic wand, what would things look like? Would they be exactly the same? Would you build them differently? What would that dream setup look like with all the knowledge you have now?
Well, I think for me, and I don't say this for everyone, but for me, it'd be just plop myself in the middle of the most expensive part of the marketplace that exists and just work that market intently. And it took me a while to get there. And so for anyone that's watching and isn't in the luxury space yet and wondering how to get there and you're in real estate, there's two ways. You just jump in because you have the confidence, because you need the confidence, you need the swagger to be able to go on an appointment and work with these clients and succeed. And so when I was new, I didn't have that, right? I had some sales skills, but I was young, I was in my 20s, and I didn't have the confidence that I could sell any house in town. And so I had to go out and pound doors and cold call and work the low end of the market. And at the time it was under 200,000, and just figure out how to sell a lot of houses. And that gave me the confidence. I just said, I need to sell 50 houses in 1 year. And that was my goal. But the day I hit that, it's like, what am I doing in this neighborhood? Right? Let's get out. And so I moved a little further west where it got more expensive and where I would market. And so that was the process. If I just plopped in the middle of Beverly Hills, right, early in my career and just focused there, I can't imagine what I'd be doing right now. So if there's markets like that are within your communities, get in, just get in there and start to get to know people, get to know agents, show up for brokers' open houses, go to events, be a part of the community, join clubs and anything else that you can, and start to elevate, because you become like the people you are around. So if you just put yourself in the right rooms, you will ultimately become that if you're not. Most people will definitely elevate at some level when you surround yourself with that. So the sooner you do it, the sooner you're going to start to elevate.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. What about you, Jana?
Well, we can't change the past, can we? I too would have moved to Naples, Florida. I would have started my career in Naples, Florida, and had 29 years there. And I would have been doing a lot more GCI, right, than we do in Northwest Indiana. But hey, we didn't. I probably would have delegated sooner. Even though I delegated a lot, I probably would have delegated more even sooner.
Yeah.
And I would have also been a little more, early on, I just brought anyone on that had a license and that could breathe, and I was a busy, crazy realtor. And I just was like, yeah, you look good. Come on over and, let's sell some houses together. But I probably would have slowed down on my hiring and been I have an HR background, right? Like a trainer, developer, just really no, you're not going to work. This is going to, so I would have been a little more protective. I always recommend, and I feel like I do this, but protect your brand, your team. Like, you determine the model you want to be and what you want to stand for and run. And don't let one person come in and try to change that. Like, it's your team, it's your brand, you protect that. If they don't fit on it, then, you just wish them well. But, there's been people along the way that want to come in and change things. And I would just recommend highly protecting your brand and what you stand for and who you are, and not apologize for it. I always had high standards from the start, but I had a lot of people that thought, oh, she's difficult to work for because of my high standards. But you know what? In the end, it's worked for me, and it's works for our clients, and that's what our clients need and want. So be very protective, choose the model you want to run, and then you choose the people that you allow to come and join you in this venture, this journey.
That's so important with team leadership. Is I've seen so many team leaders over the years make concessions or bring people on or agree to things that don't fit the plan just to be accommodating for somebody. And it just becomes a creep, and it never works. So you're right. Just, you've got to have your vision, and if somebody doesn't work or what they're looking for is different than what you have to offer, there's nothing wrong with that. But don't bend yourself, because if you keep bending yourself and your structure and your team and all of this so that somebody else isn't upset or gets what they want, which might not fit with what you have, it's really challenging, like super challenging.
And you'll just be resentful.
Yeah, everybody will. It never ends well. I mean, it never ends well. And that's why there's a right team leader for every team member, and there's a right team member for every team leader, just like with brokerage. But it's not always going to be everybody for everybody. We're going to open it up for questions real fast. But before I do, have you thought about succession planning, or what is the next chapter? Like, where does your team go 5 years, 10 years, 15 years from now? Have you thought that out yet? Or is that something next year's project or 5 years from now project?
Well, Ed, you're a little older than me, so what are you going to do? And I'll follow your lead.
Yeah, well, thanks for thinking I'm that young to believe I'll be pushing this for 15 years. So yeah, I started thinking about succession planning in a sense during COVID. And it was just I'll try to be as brief as possible, but I was discovered YouTube plays books. And so I was on my treadmill in my garage and I just put on a book, and it was the E-Myth. And the E-Myth started reminding me of that we need to operate our business like a business. That us, when you start a business, a lot of us have challenges and trying to grow past, what we are as individuals. And if we pulled out, they joke that, realtors' retirements is death, right? It's just you die and that's it. It's done. And I didn't want that to be. So after reading that, I discovered, EOS, the Entrepreneurial Operating System, through the book called Traction. And I really just started learning about how to build a business and what that should look like. And so I immediately went into action at that point and started studying the agents that were ahead of me that had done it, the book, hiring, fractional operation people, and building a system that could be designed that over time I could reduce the amount of time I have for personal production so the business can operate if I just chose to pull out. This is a long process, but that's what I'm doing so that if I decide to pull out, it can operate. And if I chose to replace myself with an owner, visionary type of person, that I have the ability to do that, whether it's someone within the company already, it's somebody within the family, or it's just somebody outside of that. And so I just want to build it in a manner that if Ed's not producing and I'm not there pushing everybody, that it's still operating at a level. And it's taken years to get there. And I finally now can go on vacations a lot and see the business still thriving when I'm gone. And that's a beautiful thing to see.
Mm-hmm.
Before you answer, Jana, I think part of the question around succession planning, and by the way, Team Leader Academy, I think, uses the EOS system. Mm-hmm. My team was the coffee team. I started my team like most people, having my name in it. I'm in a state that your name does not need to be in your team. So 4.5 years, I changed over to Gorgeous Florida Homes Network. We're still an official team, but I did that intentionally, kind of with succession planning in the back of my head, that could kind of continue to live on. I know, Ed, you can't have a team that doesn't have your name in it because you're in California.
You can have a team without your name in it, but I chose it so long ago, I just decided not to change it.
Right. And both of your team names are your names. If you were starting fresh over again today too, would you do the same thing, or would you do it differently? Just having 29 and 38 years of background.
I think, name-wise, I'd probably come up with something more generic, most likely, unless my name was something like a object
Sold.
or something. Stone or something. I don't
Sold.
know. Sold. Yeah.
Sold.
I mean, it's a small thing. I think, you know, there are great companies that are people's names. I mean, a lot of real estate companies, Coldwell Banker, and just like, yeah, I mean, a lot of different names, right? So it's not a big deal. But if you're just starting off, come up with a cool name like, you know, coolhouses.com or something.
What about you, Jana?
Oh, I don't know. I'd probably keep my name with it. That was the brand. That's just, you know, so I don't know. I don't think I'd go back. I want to look forward. So I have not gone on any appointments in Indiana since 2006, and my team is still functioning and running. So I've kind of, you know, successioned out of that state, and I decided to, you know, live in Naples. So, you know, I'm in the day-to-day in Naples, but I'm not in the day-to-day in Indiana at all. And I'm just leading. So I've already kind of evolved out. But to my total succession, I've thought about it. I don't, you know, I think my team's going to live on without me, right? Like it's going to outlast me. That would be the plan.
Have seen existing team members end up buying out normally over a couple year transition.
Right. So I do have one family member. My daughter-in-law is on my real estate team. She's one of my top producers. She's been on the team about 12 years. But I don't know that she wants to be me. You know, she doesn't, she likes her seat on the bus. And so it would probably have to be a group effort. You know, if something, heaven forbid, happened to me, you know, without any notice, then they would have to figure it out. And I think that they would continue on. There would be, I wouldn't want to shut it down. It feeds too many people, right? It helps too many people. It feeds too many people. So I have to do better at zeroing in on exactly what that's going to look like, though.
Yeah, it's good to think about it. It's, you know, just so you can go on more vacations. I did see that Monroe asked, he said, because we can have a few questions now. He said, how can an independent agent decide whether or not to build a team? And Monroe, I know, and he serves 2 locations like you do, Jana. I think it's Idaho and Hawaii, if I'm not mistaken. And so how would you answer that to somebody who is an independent agent, especially one that serves 2 locations? What would your suggestion be for somebody trying to decide if it makes sense to be a team leader or not?
Well, your administrative team can work from anywhere. They can be virtual. They can run, you know, your marketing, your sales, your contract to close, your listing management, all that can be done anywhere, and they can do it for both states. But you definitely need boots on the ground. So if you're not there, then you need to find someone that you trust that can be you. And go on those appointments, because you can't just be flying back and forth all the time. So I didn't start my Florida team until Indiana was solid. Like I could go, and I can go on vacation. I can, like, they don't rely on me. I only lead them. So, you know, you just have to have the right people in place and delegate some of that and find someone you trust that can be you, right? And handle it while you're not there.
I'm going to answer it, and I think it's going to provide an answer to a few questions that I saw up on there, which is, you know, one, how do you decide to build a team? What do you pay people? So I think the first question, if you're really deciding whether you want to be a leader of a luxury team or a team in general, you got to think about whether you really want it, right? You want to be a leader. You want to mentor people. You want to coach people. You're willing to hold them accountable. You're willing to deal with a lot of different things. Or that you are just so incredibly successful right now as an independent person, and you are so hungry to do more business. The only way you can do more business is to grow, and to grow with people, and to get partners and partner agents and great administrative team, and you can coach them and help them and grow them. And if that's you and that's your person, and then go for it, for sure. As it relates to how to figure out how to pay your partner agents, I'm going to give some numbers that I think are important to understand first about your business, and then you can decide how much you can really afford to pay somebody, because most teams build based on ego. They don't build based on profit. And so they just want to do more business in their marketplace to become a leader, to be bigger or higher up in the rankings in their company. And yet they're not taking any more money. So you've got to sit back and think, okay, why do you really want to grow? Do you want to grow for your ego, or do you want to grow because you're trying to enhance your life, your retirement, help your family, you donate to others, whatever that might be? That likely should be the reason for growth is for some of those things, as opposed to just having your name in lights, because to be number one and be broke is just no fun. So the way a business breaks down when it comes to expenses in a perfect world is 30% of your expenses, 30% of your revenue goes to expenses. Think about 10% for marketing, 10% for overhead, and 10% for staffing. Okay. When I talk about overhead, I'm talking about rent and all the just, copier, all those different expenses. And so that's 30% of your expenses, 30% of your revenue. If you worked a perfect business and you made 20% profit from your gross revenue, you're doing good. There are a lot of teams that are at 5% and 8% and 10% or less, or losing money.
Yeah.
You can get it to 20%, you're doing well. So we have 30 and 20. What's left over is 50. So 50 is probably the maximum that you can afford to pay out to a partner agent if you want to make a 20% profit. So those that are operating at higher splits, chances are you have a very low to no profit margin, and you've got a great standing in the community, and you can boost your ego, but you're broke. So those are real numbers, and you can adjust them based on your marketplace, competition, or really, you almost have to ignore competition, because a lot of times they're operating at really, really poorly decided splits that just don't allow you to actually move the business forward and help your clients the way you need to help them. Because if you give all the money away, how are you going to market? How are you going to do the job that you promised your clients? And I think that's important to think about. I think that answered a couple of those questions.
Jana, any flavor on that?
I agree with everything he just said. I don't pay out any more than, I don't know. Are we allowed to say splits? I guess. I don't know.
You can say splits. That's not the same as
specialists are usually at a 30 or a 35% tops. They don't get any more than that. And then the buyer specialists are 50% for the team lead. So, of course, our sphere of influence has a separate split attached, which is probably why those sales were higher this year. It all averages out. But I agree with that. You've got to watch, and keep an eye on it. And that's the difficult part of being a leader and having a team, is like, you've got to, you're not just in sales, you're constantly managing those expenses. And we all like to spend money. It's easy to spend money and to try the next thing. But like, I'm reevaluating every single thing right now. And I'm like, I don't need that. I don't need that. I don't need that. So, it's just getting rid of that ego and all that comes with it, and just making smart business decisions. You're running it. It's not the year, it's the career. And I want to be in this for a long time, so. Yeah.
See, the reality is that people that I meet, and the leaders that are in the industry, and the ones that are making real profit, a lot of times are just that single agent producer doing a great job in their marketplace. They keep their expenses in control, and they get a significant portion of the profit, and they do great, and they have great lives. It's a little bit harder to maybe go on vacation for longer periods of time, or to figure out how to get out of the business. But while they're in their career, if they're making 50, 60% profit, I mean, those guys look like the geniuses in the business.
Mm-hmm. I think that's the biggest difference that most people don't understand. They themselves are really high producing agents. They can't handle all the business. So they think the next obvious choice is to become a team leader. I'm the person to tell you that's not the next obvious choice, because I'm a really good salesperson and producer, but I really don't have the skill set nor the interest to be that real business owner, that real educator, accountability partner, holder. Like, you have to figure out what is really in your heart, as it's a whole different thing. It really is become a business owner, which we are as solo agents too, or we are as solo agents with an administrator. But to be a real team leader, to be profitable, because it doesn't make any sense to be a team leader not profitable, which most are not, because of all the reasons Ed just said. But to be a team leader and be profitable is really like a very high level operating business, where now you don't have just the sales side, but you have a whole business side of skill sets that you need to level up: marketing, leadership, conflict resolution, all these things at a much bigger scale, even if you have a small team. So you just have to figure out really, what do you really want and what do you love doing? Because also it's going to take some time away from your sales. So if you love selling, being a team leader doesn't mean you just now have all this much more time for sales, because you also had to put the team in place and have all of that running. So you've got to figure out really what your goals are. And like Ed said, be honest with yourself, not just from an ego standpoint, but like, a deep thinking about, what do I really want for myself out of my life? So any other questions there, Jeremy? What
Someone
are the
asked, yeah, what's the difference between having a team versus a group? I would say I don't actually understand the question, because I think a team and a group is the same. We just call them a group. Like, I have Kaminsky Real Estate Group, but we're a team. I think where there's big differences is, God, if I could think of what's in this person's head here, you could have a group of agents that want to work together but work independently.
That's right? How I think that's what I have, and I think that's what they mean.
Yeah. And so you run your own business, they run their own business, but you maybe share some costs on office space, or maybe share an assistant, or things like that. So you reduce the cost of working together, but you are independent as a group. And a team is, there's a team leader, and these people are working under that team environment, and everything is split, and you work together, and you have the same marketing pieces, and you're all working as a team.
So I had a traditional team, like the kind that Ed and Jana have now. And like I said, 4.5 years. And I ran that for about 6 years. And I've morphed over to the Gorgeous Florida Homes Network, which is more like a group where we're all equally, independent but aligned, kind of like a federation. So we use this for co-marketing, co-presence to the outside world, camaraderie, training from me, all those things. So it's more for like the independent type agent who wants to be part of something, but not a rainmaker style team. And that's the kind of thing for a team leader who maybe loves the creativity and loves the training and loves the camaraderie, but they don't want to have like the true business side. That's what I'm saying. There's different ways to set all these things up that fits your interests, your skills, your passions. There's no one size, just like with real estate. There's no one size. You have to find the right thing that fits you. And the one thing I will say is, sometimes I learned this from my team leader coach, Lars Hedenberg and Stacy Peterson. They said sometimes you have to rip the Band-Aid off. And I think Ed and Jana would agree that sometimes you have a team member, or you set up a structure that you thought sounded good 2 years ago, but it's not working anymore, and you really need to change, like Ed is talking about profitability. Sometimes you just have to rip the Band-Aid off.
I think that's a whole other conversation we should be having on profitability.
Yeah.
Yeah. I must say, there's one question hanging out there that everybody wants to know the answer to. Where are the leads?
Oh.
Right. And so to address that, I want to say that there's a good chance, if you've been in the business a little while, you already have them. Mm-hmm. What people don't understand is they're chasing the new leads that say, I want to list my home at 2 p.m. today. And those are really, really hard to find. And what I mean by that is within your database, if you keep a database of any kind, whether it's your past clients, your sphere of influence, and leads that you bought or somehow ended up in your database, they are transacting every single day. And you may not know that. I bought a platform called Fellow that's analyzing my database, and I'm getting 2-3 emails a day that said they listed, and not with you. And there's another company I spoke to that has a 100-person team of ISAs, and they took all the leads from a team who said that their agents on the team said these are all junk leads. None of them are any good. They got the exact same percentage of return of leads to listings in that junk group than they did in the original group where that same team said these were the good leads. There was no difference. So if you look at any long-term agent in the business, 80% of them are going to tell you their best sources are past clients and centers of influence. It's usually the number one. If it's not your number one, what are you doing to develop that list? If it is your number one, but you're not doing a lot of business, it's because you're not doing other lead generation to reduce that number. So you want that number at a certain level, but it's also based on the total amount of business you're doing. So if it's really, well, I'll say the other question, where do the leads come from? Where do we get our leads? There's referral resources out there that everybody knows what they are, and they send in leads, whether it's Zillow and companies like that. But for the most profitable leads is really guerrilla marketing, right? It's picking up the phone and talking to people. It's going to events and networking. It's door knocking. It's getting involved in community things, and then niche marketing, I think, is very, very powerful. And there's 100 niches. You can go into ChatGPT and what's a real estate niche I could focus on, but think of probate, think of divorce, think of expired listings, think of just luxury homes in my marketplace, or just large lot properties in my marketplace, farms and ranch, all these different niches you can break into. If you become an expert in that, focus your energy there, you will get the leads. Just don't ignore your database. It's full of them.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. I think Jeremy put up our Instagram handles before. If you want to follow any of us on Instagram, we love to. Thank you, Jeremy. We love to connect with you. Thank you, Jana. Thank you, Ed. I loved having you guys on. I appreciate and just respect you both so much with everything you've built. And thank you guys for being on live. And we'll be back here next Wednesday, or the second Wednesday in February. And I think we're going to have another team leader on, of all things. So we'll see you then. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Jamie.